Okay, so I thought I would do a quick video about the wind turbine cost of installation. So I'm not going to cover much or really anything on the cost of the tower itself since it's been so long since I built it that those material costs are probably irrelevant at this point. Anyway, and it's unlikely that anybody else is going to replicate exactly what I did on the tower. But I will kind of go over how it's built in case anybody's interested in what I did to build mine. So it's essentially built around these 6x6 timbers. The tallest one in the on the corner there is 16 feet tall. And I also used some 2x4s in its construction, as well as the piece of schedule, I think it's schedule 40 pipe, and some reclaimed hardware from satellite dish to make the pivot at the bottom, as well as the sort of boat trailer style hand winch to raise and lower it. I have a whole video on that. First component here we're going to talk about cost-wise is the PMA. This is the Max Core Thermodyne PMA. It's three-phase AC, and this is about $300 to purchase that on eBay. Next, we get the hub and blades. These came from Missouri Wind and Solar. And they're perfectly good. I've been using them for all of my various versions of the systems. They've been on the same hub and blades and tail. They've been fine. $150 about. Then the tail itself, I actually modified. This is the actual one I'm using, but I actually modified it with a new fin on the back because the small fin like that, it has a tendency to furl when the wind is high, so it just turns itself out of the wind. And I'm not using a slip ring. You can see there's a bracket just at the top just to hold the cable solid, and that's all I'm using on mine, and I think that's perfectly fine on the small setup like I have. I don't think you need the slip ring at all. Then moving on to the rectifier. This is about $10, $8 you can see here. This isn't the exact one I'm using, but I have one of these and have used this exact one before, and it's fine, but the cost is similar. And then the charge controller itself, I use the Midnight Solar Classic, and I think that's really the only way to go if you're going to do MPPT with Turbine, and I think that's really the best way to do it. And this one, you can see it says is never been used, so this is essentially brand new on eBay for $600, and this is a lot cheaper than their suggested manufacturer's suggested retail price. So I usually just go to eBay and find one that way, and usually you can do it for about $600, 650. Then for the dump load, you need a solid state relay. So I bought this Crydom. I don't know if that's exactly how you're supposed to pronounce it. About $150 for the solid state relay, and that connects to the PWM output of the Midnight Classic. And then the resistors themselves for the dump load, I just bought on Amazon around $40 a piece, times 8. So you can do the math there, but we'll add everything up at the end here. And after that, last but not least, of course, the blocking diode, which you need to put in place between the rectifier's DC output and the charge controller after you tap off for the dump load. So just a quick schematic here. I'm going to throw this up. This is actually a version of it that includes my latest project, which is the dump load monitoring system, which is a separate thing, and I will show you. You can see there's some additional circuitry in here that is not necessary for the actual dump load function. And that's these items here. And then there is a diode here, and that's just a flyback to deal with transient voltage, and I'm not sure that that's actually necessary. In fact, I don't believe it is. Okay, so costs. So adding everything up, we're looking at about $1,800 to $2,000 plus the cost of the tower itself and whatever additional stuff I've forgotten, brackets and wire nuts and whatever else. There's probably a sorted list of stuff that you need to add, conduits, but the main bulk of it, all the actual hardware to put the turbine in place was about $2,000. And that does include the cost of the 8 gauge power line coming down from the tower itself. So it does include that wire cost. Okay, so let's see, how effective is the turbine now that I've got it installed? So you can see here by this image that back on the 29th of May, it made 1.5 kilowatt hours for the day. So that was a particularly windy day where we didn't have as much sun, but that was actually had quite a bit of sun that day. So it would have made more if it was a fully cloudy day. But if we will look back a little further here, you can see that on the 11th, we actually made 1.9 kilowatt hours, and that was also not a completely cloudy day either. So I think on a good cloudy day with decent wind, a couple of kilowatt hours isn't out of the ballpark at all. So yeah, totally works.